Good morning. I'm very happy that you are here and watch this video. And I'm very happy that I am able to make another video this morning. I just returned from Freudenstadt, that is a German town in the Black Forest where there was a spiritual festival. And I was invited to give satsang there. And this was my very first opportunity to do live satsang on site with other people. So far, I did many videos and many online satsangs, but this was the first opportunity for me to do it with real people in front of me in one room. And it was such a good experience. And I went there without any expectation. I did not know how it would be for me. I did not know what I would say and what this whole thing is actually good for. I thought maybe nobody comes. But I felt energy for it. When I got the invitation, I felt, yeah, I want to go there. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to say, but yes, I want to go. And now it feels like I got such a gift by going through this experience. I had wonderful satsangs. And it was a wonderful experience to meet people directly in front of me. And it was really funny. I just said I went there without any expectation. I did not know whether anybody would come and want to listen to me there. So I had a total of 6 satsangs, and when I went there for my very first satsang on Friday morning, the satsang was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. I went there half an hour earlier. I prepared the room a little bit, the place where I wanted to sit, and a little table with information material. And I prepared everything. And then at 10 o'clock I was sitting down on my place and nobody was there. Not one person. And as I said, I went there without any expectation, and I thought, if nobody shows up, then I will just meditate. You see, this is how I live my entire life. I feel energy for something, and then I do it. But I don't know why I do it. And I don't know what it is good for. And it's not my business what comes out of it. It's not my business how many people will come. It's not my business how many people want to listen to me. And this makes life very easy. And the interesting thing is that through this openness, through this let go, many things happen all by themselves. Without me trying to do something. So I was sitting in this room, alone, nobody there. And I thought, okay, nobody wants to come, I will meditate. And I started meditating, and it was beautiful. But 2 minutes later I got disturbed because the door opened, and the technician who was supposed to film my satsang on video, he came in and said, Michael, where are you? Everybody's waiting for you. So I was sitting in the wrong room. When I went there, when I looked into my calendar, I looked into the wrong line. I said that I had a total of 6 satsangs there, and every satsang was in a different room. And when I checked which room is up this morning, I must have made a mistake. I looked at the wrong room. So I was doing it wrong right from the beginning. I had to laugh about myself. So I followed the technician. I very quickly, I packed everything back together, all the things I had prepared so carefully. And I followed the technician into a completely different room, put my things up there very, very quickly, sat down, and there was this room with many, many lovely people. They were all waiting for me, and I had a wonderful satsang with them. And I experienced this in my life so many times, you know. And that's why I do videos, to tell you about it, to tell you about how life really works. Sometimes I do things and it's working great. And I know and I can feel this is not my doing. This is not my wisdom. This is not my grandiosity. It works and I don't even know why. And sometimes I do everything wrong, like I did at this morning, sitting in the wrong room for my very first satsang. But it doesn't matter, because life takes care of me. The more I let go, the more I just say yes to everything that happens, the more life takes care of me, and the more everything, all the right things happen by themselves. So I experienced this honest and delicious let go in this empty room, and in this wonderful space. I came into the full room with all these lovely people, and then we had a wonderful satsang together. That's how life works. I experience this every day. No need to worry. And it was a fantastic experience for me to give satsang there, because there were mostly people there who didn't know me and who didn't know what I was talking about. So I was talking in a different way than I would usually talk in a video or a regular online satsang. And also this was a very interesting experience for me. I went there and normally I answer questions. Yeah, you know my videos. In many videos I read out questions and then I say something about it, or I answer questions in the online satsang. Often I do videos without reading out a question, but the video itself is inspired by questions I got from some people. But there it was different. I was there and people didn't dare to ask anything, or they didn't have any questions, I don't know. So for the first hour or so, I was just talking. I was just sharing from my life, and I was sharing about what is possible in life based on my own experience. And this was fun. I have to do this more often. I must do videos in this style. I really liked it. Yeah. But today I want to start reading out an email, and there's no question in this email. Well, I guess there is one little question, but it's more like a report. But I find this so touching, and it inspires me to talk about a few things. And this is why I would like to start this video with reading out this email. I will read it out bit by bit, because there are a few points where I would like to say something about it. Your reply is late, but it is coming. Thank you. Yeah. All what I wrote to you about Advaita, all my questions are answered. When I wrote to you, I was just very confused. I had found you and Swamiji, and I was worried that all of my knowledge about Advaita that I have acquired over the years would be lost. Yeah, it's interesting, you know. I receive a lot of questions, and I'm happy about every single question. And I invite you to write to me if you have questions, because they inspire me. And you know, all of us, we all have the same questions. And when I answer one person, in reality, I speak to a lot of people. Because we all have the same nightmares, the same problems, and the same agony. And sometimes I receive questions and I can answer them immediately. But most of the time I receive a question and I can't answer right away. And I don't know why. Sometimes it is because the person who wrote the question is not ready for the answer yet. I don't know this, but this is how it works. It's automatic, so to speak. And sometimes I can't answer because an answer is not needed. And when I answer a long time later, like in this case, I think it took me 2 months to answer. Then I hear, oh, the problem is gone. And I can feel that when I receive a question and I can't answer, it is because the answer comes from somewhere else, not from me. In my own life, it is like this, that almost all of the questions I have get answered by themselves, just over time. I have a burning question. I want to ask somebody. I want to get clarity. I want to know how it works. And then 1 day passes, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, and suddenly the answer is there. And this is the case also with this question. And somehow I know this. Somehow I have full trust. When I can't answer immediately, God takes care of it in one way or another. And He doesn't want me to interfere. You know, it works like this. When you write a question to me, before your question arrives here with me, the actual work has already been done. By you getting ready for writing to me, this process of you realizing, I don't know the answer, this process of becoming open for an answer from somebody who is a little bit further on this path than you. This openness happens before you write to me. And this openness is what gives you the answer. Sometimes you hear the answer through me, when I respond in time, and often the answer comes through you, through your life, before I have a chance to answer. But no matter whether I speak about it or not, the answer always comes based on your openness. That's where the magic happens. I'm just empty. I just am empty. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just flowing. But the solution to your problem, the answer to your problem, doesn't come through my words. It comes because of your openness. That's the magic. That's why I keep saying, I don't do anything. Jesus said this, In the proximity of Jesus, so many miracles happened. People came to Him and put down their worries and their agony and their problems at His feet. And just by being in His vicinity, they got healed. They got alive. They became happy. And then they thanked Him and they said, "You took my problems away." And He said, "I didn't do anything. Your trust healed you." That's what He said. They came to Him in total openness. And that's, when you become open, when you start to trust, then you become open, and then Life pours energy into you, and this is what solves the problem. So the solution which comes to you through me happens because you are open towards me. You trust me. You trust me so much that you ask me. That makes you open. And then the answer comes. Through you. That's the magic of these questions. And because I know this, because I can sense this, I know if I can't answer right away, there must be a good reason for this. I know it. Yeah. It's really funny how this works. So, and she wrote about the knowledge. I want to read the sentence out once again. I had found you in Swamiji, and I was worried that now all my knowledge about Advaita that I have acquired over so many years would be lost. It's really funny. You know, we try to understand life. We try to understand the Master. We try to understand the Guru or Jesus. And then this lady met me, and through me she came to Swamiji, and then she started doing the Samarpa meditation. And Samarpa meditation is the opposite of knowing. There you don't acquire knowledge. There you practice not knowing anything. To let go of everything you think you know, to let go of your wishes and your thoughts and your dreams, and you just rest here in emptiness. So it's kind of the opposite than what she did before. Then she was worried that, do I have to let go of this precious knowledge which I acquired in so many years by reading so many things? We think that this knowledge is valuable. We think this knowledge is important. And we are worried to let it go. We are worried that we might lose it. Yeah? But I would like to talk a little bit about how this knowledge came into existence in the first place, to then see whether it's really important or not. When you look at a guru like Jesus, he didn't teach knowledge. He didn't tell people how the world functions, or how the spiritual path functions, or how God works. No. He told us very simple, very clearly, what we have to do so we become like him. And every true guru does this. The guru himself doesn't speak much. The guru himself always says the same things. Yeah, it's really a joke. It's kind of boring. The guru says the same things over and over and over again. But we don't want to listen. The guru or a Jesus, a master, tells us the one thing we need to do to become like him. Jesus was asked, how do we come to heaven? How do we pray? And Jesus said, you pray like this. Thy will be done, Father. That was his secret. Meaning, you say yes to life. Yeah? You forget your own thoughts, you forget your wishes, and instead You say yes to what is. You say yes to that, what happens by life. You accept everything. But we don't listen. We can't hear this. The disciples of Jesus could not understand what he was talking about. They didn't get it. Yeah. They tried to understand what he was saying instead of just doing what he said. There's this one instance during the night before he was arrested. He said, "Pray with me." He invited 3 of his disciples to pray with him, to meditate, to turn inwards and to let go. But they couldn't. They didn't know what he was talking about. Instead, they fell asleep. And it is like this with every living guru. The disciples don't understand what the guru is talking about. They don't experience what the guru experiences. And instead, they try to understand him. And then they write the Holy Scriptures about that, what they think they understand. The secret of the guru is very simple. 1 sentence, maybe 2, if at all. But then many scriptures are being written, many holy books, complicated theories and pictures and images. And all of this only because the disciples don't understand the simple hint what we have to do. Yeah. When you do what the guru says, when you do what Jesus suggests, when you live with a "Thy will be done," or when you start meditating, the Samarpan meditation, which is the same thing. Samarpan means surrender. It's the same surrender Jesus was talking about. Yeah, there you practice that. And then you become like a Swamiji. Then you become, Swamiji is the Indian guru who brings this beautiful, simple meditation from the Himalayas into society, to us. Then you become like Swamiji. Then you become like a Jesus. But we don't want this. When you do this, "Thy will be done." When you meditate every morning, when you let go of your thoughts and your wishes, then it's like you disappear. It's like this I dissolves slowly, slowly. And this we don't want. But when you do this, when you do what the Master suggests, when you do what the Jesus suggests, or Swamiji, when you meditate, it's so simple. Then, very, very quickly, you start experiencing the same thing Jesus is talking about. Then you experience what Jesus was talking about. Then you understand him based on your own experience. That's the only thing which is helpful. Your own experience. And then you don't need all this knowledge. It's like this knowledge is a very, very pure substitute for simply doing what the guru suggests. People only write books and scriptures because they didn't do what the guru says and they didn't experience it themselves. Yeah. And that's why the knowledge about these scriptures is just a useless replacement. You just have to do what the Master suggests. That's all. It's very simple. Yeah. So I go on reading in this beautiful email. Since a few months, I have been meditating every morning at 5:30 in the morning without music. And at noon, I meditate with music in the online meditation group from Canada at 12 o'clock. Wanting to know everything is dissolving. And you know, you don't have to make a video about Advaita now. Not knowing is good for me. And Samarpa meditation is very good for me. It fulfills me and it empties me. Yes, this is so beautiful. This is what happens when you forget your knowledge and instead just do what the Guru suggests. You just start meditating. And in no time, in a few months, you don't hold on to your knowledge anymore. You experience the real thing. And that's so much better. That's the way. It's like this for everybody, sooner or later. Yeah, I'm so happy about what I read here. You know, there is no problem with knowledge. All the things which have been written down in the Holy Scriptures, they have their purpose. They preserve something. They keep something alive for those people who are not ready yet to simply do what the Guru suggests. They preserve in a very imperfect way something. But once you start your spiritual path, once you really want to know, you just do it yourself. And then you can forget all the scriptures. And it's funny. Then you do it yourself. You start meditating. You start praying like Jesus. That's meditation. You know, Jesus called it prayer simply because in the society where he was living with the Jews, the word meditation did not exist. But the essence of the prayer of Jesus is the same thing like the essence of Samarpa meditation for me. For me, it's the same. I'm only talking about my own experience. And the funny thing is, when you meditate, then you start experiencing the same thing which the scriptures are talking about. And then you start understanding the scriptures. Before you learned everything, but it was only lifeless theoretical knowledge. But now it's your own experience. And then you start understanding all these things you used to read in the scriptures. That's why I like to talk about Jesus so much, because now I experience the same thing myself. And now it all makes sense. Now I understand what he was talking about. It's just fun. Yeah. Then suddenly everything makes sense. So the knowledge is useless. And then you start experiencing yourself, and then you know the way. Then you experience the way. Yeah. And that's the only difficulty, you know. It's so easy to say, thy will be done. It's such a relief. It's such a freedom. You don't have to worry anymore. you can just let yourself be carried by life. I mean, what could be easier? What could be more beautiful? But it requires you to let go of what you think is important. Your knowledge, your goals, your dreams. This I you feel, this I sense, this ego, in reality is only based on these very things, on knowledge, on memories, on wishes, on goals, on plans. And when you let them go, it is as if the I disappears. And it feels really strange. But that's the way. It's an easy way. And because of the fact that the I dissolves when you do this, the I resists. You start the meditation, and after a few days you think, no, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. This is stupid, or I have better things to do. The I tries to get you away from this, because it starts disappearing very quickly. That's why Swamiji, who brings the meditation, suggests that when you start it, do it for 45 days. This is long enough so you start having your own experiences. By the way, if you feel interested in doing this meditation, it's very simple. I don't want to explain it to you how it works in detail right now, simply because I'm not the right person to do this. It's very, the meditation itself is so simple. I mean, nothing could be simpler. In my entire life, I've not met anything which is easier and simpler than this. But it is important that the knowledge about the meditation, although it's so simple, remains pure. This means that people who know what they are talking about tell you about the meditation. As I said, it's nothing complicated. But maybe you know this child game. You have 10 or 12 children sitting in a line, and you give a piece of paper with a sentence to the first child. And this child now whispers what's written on this paper into the ear of the next child. And that child takes what it has just heard and whispers the same thing, that what it just heard, into the ear of the next child, and so on and so on. Everyone in this chain, in this message chain, thinks that he or she relays the message exactly the way he or she heard it. But the message gets altered in every step, a little bit. You are not aware of it. You think you repeat the same thing, but you say it a little bit different. And this happens then on every station. And after 10 or 12 people, what comes out at the end of this chain is sometimes very different and very funny when you compare it to the original message. And this happens also in the spiritual field. So when I tell you about the Samarpan meditation, there's not much to say. It's really simple. As simple as this one little sentence you would write down in this children's game I just described to you. But I will alter it unknowingly, without wanting it. I will say it in a slightly different way than Swamiji would say it. Yeah, and then somebody hears me and passes it on to somebody else, and then that person says it a little bit different, and then in a few years, people will hear about Samarpan meditation, and they hear about something completely different. And in order to avoid this, it is Swamiji's wish that only those people who are who are authorized by himself will pass on this simple knowledge about the meditation, just to avoid this effect that the information gets changed. Yeah, as I said, the information is totally simple. So, and if you're interested in this meditation, it is very, very simple. There are introductions where you hear everything about the meditation you need to know. And you can even do this online. In Germany, it's being done every Monday evening at 6:45 in the evening. It's an online event. I think it goes for 45 minutes. It's fun. It's very interesting. And you hear the things which you need to know about the meditation firsthand from those people who pass it on from Swamiji. And then you can do the meditation. And these introductions are also available in other countries on a regular basis. If you want to know about it, on my website, there is the page called Meditation. And on that page, I collected a few links to the official websites of the Samarpan meditation. And there you find the right information you need for the introductions, for group meditations, and everything else. Yeah, and that's why I don't want to say too much about this here at this plot. I just want to tell you how you get the introduction. It's, of course, free of charge. Nothing around Samarpan meditation costs anything. And also not the introduction. Yeah, so if you're interested, go for it. I can only recommend it. And in all of my videos, I only talk about this meditation because it's the one thing which changed my life totally. Yeah, that's the one thing which brought me to heaven after I had been on the spiritual path for a long time already. But this is what did it. So there are a few lines left in this lovely email. I want to continue. I would like you to talk about the crown chakra. Yeah, I just told you I don't want to go into the specifics of this meditation right now because I want you to hear this from the right people. But I'm really happy to share about my own experiences, specifically with the crown chakra. It is so that the one thing we do during this meditation is that we rest with our attention here at this spot. Just this spot of your body, yeah, the top spot of your head. This is what the Indians call the crown chakra. But you don't have to imagine anything mysterious. You don't have to imagine anything spiritual. In the meditation, we just rest at this physical spot of our body up there. And it sounds totally simple and as if this is nothing special. And that's true. You just focus on this physical spot there. This spot you can touch with your hand. That's what you can feel when you put your hand on there. So nothing mysterious. It's very, very simple. But after I meditated a while, I forgot how long it took, or whether it was a few years or a few months. I forget these things. But after I meditated for a while, I began to notice that this is not just a simple physical spot, a simple part of my body. By now, it is for me as if this is a door to another world. To a world I don't know anything about. A world I don't need to know anything about. But just by resting with my attention there, at this specific spot of my body, it is as if I sit at the door to heaven. I experience that from there, everything which animates me comes from there. And I experience this in a very simple, normal way. Nothing grand, nothing extraordinary. It feels like this is the most normal thing in the entire world. This is my connection to my soul. This is my connection to God. It's the most normal thing, the most simple thing. And yet nobody knows about it. Jesus said, heaven is at hand. And now, after I have done the Samarpan meditation for about 7 years, now I know what he meant. I believe what he was talking about is this spot. You can touch it with your hand. And if you rest there with your attention, you sit at the door to heaven. Heaven is not something far away. Jesus was explaining it to us, but we didn't understand him. He said, I am the Son of God, and I am the Son of Man. He said, I'm both. Now, while I am the Son of Man, while I am in this body, I'm in heaven. So, heaven is not a place somewhere else, far away, where you will go after you did everything right in this life, and then you die, and then you will go to heaven. This is not how it works. This is a fantasy, which is not true. It got invented by people who did not understand Jesus, who did not experience it themselves. And that's the only explanation they had. They didn't experience heaven here while they were alive. So they thought it must be something after death, because it's not here. They couldn't see it. But Jesus was talking about something which is to be experienced while we are in this body. That's why we are here, because we can only discover it while we are in a body, in this life. And that's how close heaven is. So close. All you need to learn is to go to the right place with your attention. And it's so simple. Swamiji talks about this too, all the time. He says, we have to discover this while we are alive, in the body. That's why we are here. And that's why we have to come back into another life when we don't manage to discover this in this life. Because we need a body. We need this life to discover this, to discover the door to heaven, back to our original being, to our soul. Yeah. And Jesus also said something else. He spoke about sitting at the door to the temple. Yeah. He was asked, what should we do? Just sit at the door to the temple. And people didn't understand him. They thought he meant it sitting at the building. People ran to the temple and were sitting at that door. Jesus always only talked about the inside. This is the door. You rest with your attention here. And this is the feeling I have. You asked about the crown chakra, and I tell you my experience. Now it's when I meditate, when I'm resting in the crown chakra with my attention, I feel like I'm sitting at the door to the temple, at the door to heaven. And you can't enter through this door. It's nothing you can do. All you can do is sit there. At this spot you can physically feel. It's very simple. You just sit there. And the longer you do this, the more you get able to rest there with your attention and not getting pulled away by your thoughts and about other impressions by the outside. The more it is for me as if I'm carried through this door into heaven. Again and again. That for me is the crown chakra. Yeah. And there are a few more lines in this lovely email. Personally, I meditate without expectation. I don't have to achieve anything. I am like an innocent child who sits down and sees what happens. yes, yes, yes. So lovely. Yeah, that's the secret. I was talking about how Jesus taught us how to pray, how to meditate. Thy will be done. Without expectations. Yeah, you can only say, thy will be done when you don't expect anything. If you have an agenda, if you think, okay, I want to achieve this, I want to get this, I want to get that, and that's why I say, thy will be done, then of course this is a trick of the mind. I'm not talking about this. What Jesus was talking about was just having no own wishes, no own agenda, but allow life to take over. I forget about my agenda. I forget about my wishes. I forget about everything I find important and desirable. And instead I let life do. And then the miracles start happening. Yeah. And that's why it's so difficult for many people. This path is so simple. There's nothing simpler in the whole world. But they don't want to let go of their expectations and their wishes. That's the ego, of course. So, on Guru Purnima, my elder daughter was visiting from Berlin. I told her about you and Swamiji. We spent Guru Purnima day together and the Guru Diksha ceremony. Since then, she has been meditating and listening to your videos. We are very happy. Thank you for your morning moments. Guru Purnima, this is the full moon, where in India they celebrate the Guru. That's what she was referring to. And this makes me so happy to hear this. This is how it works, you know. You start discovering for yourself what you need to do to go to heaven. This simple thing of surrender, of meditating. And then you start experiencing the truth. And this is so powerful that it makes you happy, and other people can feel this. And then they become open for this too. Then they want to start this too. Then they want to know, what did she do? Funny. Why is this lady so happy? I don't know her like this. What's going on? And then people get interested. It's not about telling other people, convincing other people this is the way, and yeah. It doesn't work like this. Yeah. And that's why it's also totally unimportant what I tell you here. The only thing which really does something is what you feel from me. You feel something which is unfamiliar to you, some peace, some simplicity, some naturalness, and you think, wow, this is interesting. And that's what convinces you. This, what you sense. It's not the words, it's not the knowledge. And then, if you go on this path and you become happy, other people pick it up from you. And that's how it spreads, slowly, slowly. This is how the world changes over time. All by itself. And that's why I make my videos. Just to let you feel me, to let you feel my truth and my happiness and my simplicity, and that does something in you, and then you go on your own path. Yeah. Yeah, that was it for this email. I'm so happy to receive letters like this. But I have a few more emails with questions, and I want to go on and see what else I can answer in this video this morning. The lady who is writing here has 2 questions. The first one: if I'm completely in soul consciousness, and if I no longer need anything from anyone out there, why do I enter into a partnership? Thank you for your question. I like these practical questions. Yeah. And I'm very happy to share about my very personal experiences of this matter. You know, we think we enter into a relationship, as if it's your decision. Yeah, as if you decide, okay, I want to start this relationship. And then you wonder, if I'm fulfilled, if I'm resting in soul consciousness, if I'm happy, if I don't need anything anymore, why would I make this decision? I don't need anything. Well, it's like this. It's never your decision. You never decided for a relationship. Relationship is something which happens to you because life wants to have to have a relationship. It is like the entire life, your entire life, everything in this life is tailor-made specifically for you, to help you on your path to discover yourself, to discover heaven. And relationships are a great help on this path, because through relationship is a focus point of all of your hopes and dreams and wishes. It's very easy for you to get very excited about the relationship. And that's why you get so disappointed, because life teaches you step by step that this, what you're looking for, is not out there. And if you experience this often enough, then you start looking for, well, where is it? Where do I find happiness? Where do I find contentment? How do I find it? And that's what life is for. This constant pain and constant disappointment is the help. So you never decide for a relationship. Life knows what you need. That's why it's so helpful to say yes to life, to whatever happens. Also the difficult things, also the painful things, especially those. They are especially helpful. And then life helps you to discover heaven, to discover your soul. All your problems disappear. You become connected to the source of everything you need, inside of yourself. So you don't need anything from anybody else. But still life happens. It's not that then you stop living life. Life still happens. You still work, you still have a relationship, you still have friends, you talk, you eat, you sleep, you shit. Yeah, it's all still happening. But you experience it in a completely different way. And nothing changed. Everything which is happening in your life when you are a soul, when you live in heaven, all this is happening to help you. In my life, relationship is still happening. I have a partner. Yeah, she lives with me. I live with her. And it's such a help for me. It supports me to deepen my own truth. It's a support in practical matters And it's simply lovely and beautiful. Yeah, so it's a support for me. In your life, at the stage where you are at, in your life, on your path, a relationship is a great help. And where I am in my life, a relationship is a great help. So nothing changed. You never decided for a relationship. And I didn't decide for this relationship. It just happens. All I can say is yes. That's what I do. And that's what you do too. So I have a relationship, but not because I want something from it, not because I need something from this human being I'm living with. This is not the case. I don't want anything from her. But it's such a help. And it's lovely. That's why it's still happening. Swamiji, this amazing guru, this living Jesus, he has a wife, he has children. And he frequently talks about this, how essential this is for him, how helpful. It's not that he needs something from her. He has everything. But it's so helpful for his life and for his task. Yeah. And I want to read out the second question of this email. I enjoyed so much to answer these questions. It's such a blessing for me that you write your questions to me. Thank you for your trust and your courage. If I have arrived within myself, and if I'm resting in bliss, what is it like if my partner wants to be very close to another person, as well as to me? Thank you. I repeat, I'm very touched by your courage to ask these honest questions. Yeah, how is this? I don't know why you ask this, but let me guess. My guess is that you experience this in your life right now, and for you it's tremendously difficult and painful. And now you want to know from me how this is once you are arrived, once you are in bliss. Whether then it's still so painful as it is for you right now. You know, a partner doesn't give you anything. No love, no security, nothing. A partner is not here to give you anything. A partner is here to help you learn through that what you experience. The partner doesn't know anything about this. And you are in your partner's life that he can learn. And it's such a great help. It's such a big blessing. But you think you need something from him. You think that he gives you something valuable. Security, love, company, keeping you company so you don't have to be alone, making you feel loved or needed or whatever it is. And as you know in your life, it doesn't work. One little incident, he wants to be with another woman, and your life falls apart, and you feel like you're dying. And this is because you look for these things at a place where they are not being found. Yeah? If you open the the refrigerator, if you open a kitchen cupboard to look for something which is stored in your house somewhere completely different, you can look into this cupboard as much as you want, you will not find it. You just will be disappointed. Now, you can say, this cupboard is wrong, you can buy yourself another cupboard, but still you don't find what you're looking for. You just need to know where to look for what you need. And you ask, how is it when you live in bliss, when you have everything you need? How is it when you found all this in yourself, when you became a soul, independent of this body and of other bodies and the world and the circumstances? Well, then you are somebody who discovered the place where you find these things you're looking for. Then you got them. You have them. You rest in God's lap. You are content. You have no wishes. You don't look for anything. And whether your partner wants to spend this night with you or somebody else makes no difference. You don't need anything from him. I don't need anything from my partner. I just love her. When you live like this, most likely your partner will not want to spend any time with somebody else because it's so amazingly beautiful with you. But let's go on with your theoretical question. If my partner would come and say, hey, listen, Michael, there's this other guy, he's really hot. I can't help it. I just need to check this out. I just need to go there. I want to spend this weekend with this guy. The only thing I can do then is say, oh yes, how can I help you? Should I take the kids? Do you need something? Yeah, let's find a time where it's possible so I can make it as beautiful and simple and easy for you as possible. And I would just be happy that my partner does whatever she needs to do on her path. And that's how it is for me. Then you just want the best for everybody. And I know it will also be the best for me. I know this. It doesn't happen. But if it would happen, I would know without any doubt this must be perfect. I would just be curious. Why is this happening? What will I learn? And I just want her to be happy. Just as happy as I am. My happiness is not based on her. My happiness has nothing to do with her. And then what I just described, how it is for me, is totally normal for you. If you discovered the source of everything you need inside of you, you can just enjoy your life and your partner. No matter what happens, you just enjoy everything. It's totally natural this way. What's not natural is this neediness we usually display between partners, which we call love. It has nothing to do with love. It's just plain neediness. That's not normal. This is like psychotic. But this is normal because it is like this for almost everybody. Yeah. So we don't know anything else, and we think this is normal. But I don't know how anyone can have a relationship like this. I mean, of course, all of my relationships in my life before I came to my master were like this also, so I know exactly where you're coming from. But this is not what a real relationship looks like. Yeah, so just find your soul, meditate, discover the well, discover heaven in you, and it will happen. And then everything in life is beautiful, everything. And don't worry about what might happen and how to deal with it in the future. Don't worry about anything. Just take life step by step as it happens in every moment. And the answer how it is for you and how you can deal with it will come in the moment perfectly. When you imagine something, how will it be? This is always difficult. This is always terrible. But when you only deal with what you have on your plate right now, that's easy. You just accept it. You just experience it. In the imagination, it feels impossible. But in actuality, it's always simple. It's always taking care of itself in one way or another. This is my personal experience. Thank you for your questions. I appreciate your openness and your courage. Thank you. And I would like to read the next email. At numerous events, Swamiji has repeatedly offered various questioners the opportunity to donate or give him their own past. This raises the following questions for me. Does this offer apply to all of us? To all of those who practice Samarpan meditation? Or only to those to whom he has made this offer specifically? If this offer applies to all of us, how can we put it into practice? How exactly do we donate our own past to Swamiji? Thank you. Thank you for this question. I love this question. First, I have to tell you that, of course, I cannot speak for Swamiji. I cannot tell you what he meant by this, and I cannot tell you what he would answer. But I can tell you how I understand it and what it means for me. And this is what I will tell you now. By the way, you can always, when you have questions about anything connected with what Swamiji says and with anything about Samarpan meditation, you can always ask the people from Samarpan Meditation e.V. in Germany, or in every country there is some volunteer organization around the Samarpan meditation. And you can contact these people and ask them. And they have the original questions. If they don't have the answers, if they don't have the answers, they will go back to Swamiji and ask him. We live in these exciting times where we have a Jesus on the planet who is still alive. We can still ask him. We can still go back to him and ask him, hey, how did you mean this? We don't have to guess. We don't have to interpret some old scriptures. We can just ask him. So use this opportunity. But I'm happy to share with you how that is for me. First, I want to tell you why I find it so helpful and so important to donate one's past. The past is all of the memories you have. The difficult memories about things which were difficult for you, the memories of the pain, of the fear, of the feelings. The memories of what you did wrong, where you failed. Also the memories of the beautiful things, where you were proud of yourself, the things where you thought, oh, I'm great, I did it well. And the funny thing is that out of this memory, out of this past, The I is created. The past, the memories, that's the fabric the ego is being made of. If you don't have any past, if you don't remember anything, there's no I. There's nobody. You don't know anything about yourself. So Swamiji offers to donate your past to him. That means whenever I remember something painful from the past, my parents who did something wrong, I immediately remember, wait a moment. I donated this to Swamiji. It is not my past anymore. Yeah, I don't have a right to claim that this is my past and my memory, and I give it away. I just give it to the crown chakra and further out to Swamiji. When I remember something great, a lovely experience, I remember, wait a second, this is not my life I remember, this belongs to Swamiji. And I immediately give it away and forget it. If I remember something where I did something really cool, like this weekend, these satsangs were so lovely. If I remember this lovely satsang and I think, I did this really good, immediately I remember, whoa, wait a moment. This has nothing to do with me. This is not my past. It's Swamiji. And I give it away. And I do this practically. I just rise this memory up to the crown and give it away to Swamiji. And he's waiting for it. And you ask whether this is applicable for all of us. That's how I understand it. Swamiji invites all of us, this is my understanding, to donate him our past, to give our past away to him. We don't have to take care of it anymore. We don't have to carry it around anymore. We can just forget it. This is what Jesus did too. Jesus did the same thing. He said, give me your past. His words were different. He said, you're forgiven. Whatever you did, your entire past, it's gone. I take it. I take it on to me. That's what Swamiji says. Give it to me. Forget about it. Forever. You never did anything. And it's very, very powerful. And if you do this, if you donate your past to Swamiji, if you just give it away, if you accept the challenge of the living Jesus, the offer of the living Jesus, you are forgiven. This is all not yours anymore. Then it is as if your ego disappears, because all of these old things, this is what the ego is made out of. And that's why it's so helpful. Yeah, donate your past to Swamiji. I do this all the time. And it is something I have to do over and over again. I do it, and everything I ever did is forgiven by Swamiji or has been done by Swamiji, but I didn't do it. It's not my past. That's why my life is so easy. But again and again, something of the past comes up in me. And as soon as I notice, I give it away. I say, wait a moment, this is not me. This has nothing to do with me. And I give it away. Instantly. As soon as I notice. And you will notice something very interesting. When you do this, when you give away your past, when you don't have a past anymore, then there's no future. Future is a mental construct based on the past. I either wish something for the future based on what I experienced so far, or I try to avoid something in the future based on what I experienced in the past. But when I don't have a past anymore, I don't have a future. Then all that's left is here, this moment. And that's where life is happening. And that's easy. Thank you for your question. And I think I have time for one more question. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is possible. I need to check the time again and again, because when I speak, when I do a video, or when I'm sitting in satsang, I lose all sense of time and I have no idea how long I'm talking already. But we have 10 minutes and that's fine. It is about being true to yourself. You said you have to be prepared to feel bad if you're true to yourself. And that one should be true to oneself even at the cost of sleeping under the bridge. And to don't have a bad conscience, to feel guilty if I'm true to myself. And for me, this is true especially in a man-woman relationship. When I heard you speak about this, I felt really enthusiastic and wrote the sentences down. But then the doubt came. Because unfortunately, the man-woman relationship is so often about power struggles and about who gets their way, who is right, and whose interests are being served. And then came the question, what about the ego? Isn't there a huge ego at work when I remain true to myself, when I consider my interests, my desires, and my views to be more important than his? I mean, the mind will always tell you that it's right. That's what it says on my pin board. How important do I take myself? And to what extent am I able to let go of these desires and priorities? Because they are not really important at all. You have to look at yourself first and foremost. That's what you often hear. Do I have to? Wouldn't it be nice to not take yourself so seriously and to let go instead? Thank you. I'm very, very happy about this question, because in this field, in this spiritual field, there are so many misunderstandings. And I'm very happy to talk a little bit about it, and maybe I can dissolve some of the misunderstandings which are happening there. You're right. When I follow my wishes, my interests, that's what I think is right and true. When I follow this, and when I want other people to do the same and to agree with me, then it gets very, very ugly and very difficult. This is not what I am talking about. When I say be true to yourself, I mean, be true to the moment, to that what is here for you right now. You don't know what it will be tomorrow. You don't even know what it will be 5 minutes from now. The thoughts, the plans, the desires, the wishes, this is all up here. This has nothing to do with what you feel in a given moment. These are all thoughts, and that's what causes all the problems in life, and especially in relationship. I want this, I want that. You shouldn't want this, you shouldn't want that. This is not what I'm talking about. I talk about something very natural, very direct, very perceivable. Your partner comes to you and he wants something from you. And then you just check. Okay, how does this feel? Do I have energy for this right now? Do I feel joy imagining that I do this now with him? That's what he proposes. And if I feel the energy for this, if I feel a yes in that moment, I say, oh yeah, let's do this. Maybe it's not what I planned, maybe it's not what I want up here, but in the moment, I feel, oh wow, this feels good. Yes, I want to do this. And then you join him and you go with him. That's being true to yourself in the moment, not true to your ideas, not true to your imaginations and plans and wishes. I will give you a very simple example, which every couple knows. Yeah, you plan a nice evening together. You want to go out for dinner, and then you want to go home and have beautiful night together. That's your plan. That's your wish. That's what you plan up here. But in reality, you don't have any idea how the evening will go. You don't know how your partner will feel after dinner. You don't even know how you will feel after dinner. This is all ideas. This is all imagination in your head. Oh, it would be lovely if then we would have a great night together. You don't know anything about this. It's all thoughts. And this is not what I'm talking about. Being true to yourself means you had a nice dinner, you come home together, and then you check, how do I feel now? How does he feel now? What can we do together now which agrees with both of us? Now, in the moment. And if you can be true to this, then you will have a lovely evening, no matter what you do. You know, maybe you had this great imagination that you would have a hot night together. And maybe he had the same idea. But then you come home, and when you're really honest, you feel into yourself and you feel, you know, it was such a lovely evening, and now I'm tired. And what I would really love now is just go to bed. Yeah, have you in my arm and fall asleep immediately. It's the opposite of what you imagined, but this is how you feel. And maybe he feels the same. And then you will have an evening which has nothing to do with your fantasies, but which is just lovely, because it's true to the moment. Maybe he feels totally different. Maybe he feels totally hot, and you know, or maybe he just is in his fantasies and wants something. And then you check: do I want to follow along? Is this fun? And if you notice, I feel like this, then you follow along. But maybe you feel something completely different, and then you can say, hey, you know what? I know you love me. I know you're totally hot. But I must tell you, I don't feel like this right now. I would love to have a quiet evening with you now, and after this lovely dinner. Yeah, if you want, let's just go to bed and fall asleep quietly in each other's arms. This is what I would love to do. And then you see what he wants. And if he wants something else, then you can say, I'm sorry, I'm not open for this. It's not possible for me right now. So it's never about pushing my own will and my own wishes onto somebody else. It's not a power struggle. It's simply being true to myself in a moment. And the other can do whatever he wants. Yeah. If your partner is not happy with how it is for you right now, he can go somewhere else and do whatever he wants, just not with you. In this game of truth, everybody is always free. It's not about agreeing. It's not about forcing something onto another person. Quite the opposite. It's like, okay, I'm true to myself. You are true to yourself. The other one, yeah? Each of the two persons are true to themselves. And then they see what's possible together. And that's easy. It's the opposite of ego. When you begin to be true to yourself, you can only feel what's here in a given moment. You can only feel your real energy and joy if you let go of your own ideas, if you let go of your own plans and fantasies and dreams and hopes and whatnot. And only then can you feel, I was thinking about hot sex throughout the whole dinner, but now, when I'm honest, I want to just chill. You can only feel this when you let go of all of this, what you have up here in your head. Yeah, and this is really simple and easy. The ego is the plans and the wishes. This is ego, and that's very difficult. This is what you're talking about. This is what we normally push onto each other. That's the power struggle. But just being here, hey, yes, I feel a yes, or hey, no, sorry, this is not possible for me right now. That's easy. And then the other person can do whatever she or he wants to. This is not my business. This is the opposite of power struggle. And I just said there are so many misunderstandings in this whole field. When I say, earlier I spoke about your will be done, about surrendering to life. And this doesn't mean that I say yes to every other person and what they want from me. It doesn't mean that your boyfriend or your partner comes to you with some wish and you don't have any energy for it, but you think you should surrender and then you say yes to this. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm only ever talking about what you find in you. Your partner comes with some idea and you check. You surrender to that what life gives you in that moment. Is it an openness? Then you say yes. Is it a no thank you? Then you say no. And that's the most difficult thing in the world, to be true to yourself. It's easy to follow wishes and to fight, but to be really true to yourself, to the moment, to that what God gives you in a given moment, that's quite a challenge. So I'm not suggesting to you that you say yes to everything some idiot wants from you or demands from you. You be true to that what you feel inside. Not to your thoughts, not to your wishes, but to the energy you feel in a given moment. And you cannot know in advance what it will be. This you can only discover in the moment, again and again and again. And there's also another misunderstanding involved in this. Some people then ask, yeah, but this means I can't make any appointments anymore. I cannot plan anything with anybody else. If everybody lives like this, we live in total chaos. And I tell you how it is for me. If somebody approaches me and says, hey, do you want to go out with me next Friday? I mean, it doesn't happen. Nobody asks me out, and I don't have desire for it, but I just take it as an example, okay? If this happens, in a week from today, would you like to go out for dinner with me? In that moment where I get the question, I check, how do I feel? Maybe I feel a yes. Oh, yeah, great. Then I say yes. Maybe I feel, no, I love this person. I wanted to do this with this person. But right now hearing the question, no, I don't feel like it. And then I say no. I say, no, I'm sorry, I can't commit to this. I don't even have to give a reason. I can just say, no, sorry, this is not possible. I don't have to tell the other person, I don't feel like it. I just say no. Or maybe I feel ambivalent. I don't have any clear yes, no clear no, and also no clear no. And then I just wait. I say, yeah, I'll get back to you. And sooner or later, the answer comes by itself very, very clearly. And then in the moment when I have the answer, I make the answer, the decision in the moment, and then I stick to it. I don't reverse the answer every 5 minutes because my mood changes. This is the head. I'm in the moment when I make the decision. I'm checking my energy when I answer. And then later, after a few days, my head comes along and says, but maybe if we want to do something else, now we have these plans. And I say, shut up. Yeah, I made the decision, leave me alone. And I will be there on Friday, as I agreed. That's how I live. And that's easy. And same with satsang. Yeah. Many months ago, I agreed to do these satsangs in Freudenstadt last weekend. Of course, I showed up. When I got the invitation, I carefully considered it. I was meditating and it was very quiet, and I checked, is this a good idea? Do I want to do this? And I felt, yes. And I said yes. And then I go there. At the agreed time, I will be there. Every single satsang. Because when I made the decision, I was in the moment. And maybe when you live like this, you experience sometimes that it was not so cool what you decided. But it's important. I just live through my decision. This will help me to make a better decision next time. This will help me to be even more aware the next time. What I don't do is reconsider. What I don't do is go back and forth. What I don't do is call half a day early and say, oh, you know what, I don't feel like it. I can't come. I'm sorry. I don't do this. If I would do this, I would feel as if I let myself be pulled around by my own mind. And the mind, the intellect, always is ambivalent. Yeah, you make a decision today and tomorrow he will tell you something else. This is the nature of thought. This is the expertise of the mind, to look at something from all angles and to find the best solution. So it's going on and on and on all the time. Yeah, but once I make a decision, I just do it. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Yeah, and I was talking about this being being true to yourself, being true to the moment with everything you do. And the same, I do the same thing when, everything I do here is free. My satsangs are free. My videos are free. But it's very, very supportive for me if people support me financially. And sometimes in a video I mention this, and on my website I write it, and in my newsletters, sometimes I remind people that, hey, if you like, support me. And there I do the same thing. I don't tell you how important it is, or that you can save the world by supporting me, or any kind of stupid stuff like this. No. I tell you, hey, everything is free of charge. But of course, it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and also money to do all these videos and satsangs and everything. And if you feel like it, if it gives you joy, then support me. This is a lovely support. Yeah, I want you to feel completely free to enjoy whatever you want from what I offer. I don't want you to feel obligated in any way. But if it gives you joy to support me, oh, please do. I'm very grateful for and very happy for support. And on my website, I have the page called Donate. On that page, you find all the possibilities you can support me. Do what you feel like. Yeah. For me, it is like this. I know that everything I do here has nothing to do with me. I just do it because life gives me the energy and a lot of joy with it. That's why I do it. And I know if life wants this to happen, life will take care that it works out somehow. And that the means and the money I need so I can live to do this, it will come somehow. Yeah. God and life will make sure that enough people feel happy about supporting me. And so far, it looks good. And that's how it also worked in Freudenstadt. I need to tell you this. This is so amazing. Also there, of course, everything was free, every satsang. And in Freudenstadt, it was like this. My satsangs were taking place in the context of a spiritual festival. And everybody who wanted to visit my satsangs needed to have a day ticket for this festival, which was quite expensive. I don't get anything from this money. It's just for the organizers of the festival, the money, so the whole thing can take place and the big rooms can be rented and all of this. So people who came to my satsangs already had to pay somebody so they can even see me. And also there I said, hey, if you feel like it, if it gives you joy, that's how I put it, then please donate something. So this is possible for me. And you know what? But almost exactly to the penny, I got the donations I got there. People actually donated. And I'm so grateful, despite the fact that they had to pay their ticket for the festival. They donated, and what I got there as donations, as joyful donations, is exactly what I had to pay for my train ticket, for my accommodation there, and for the food I had to buy there. I had to go to restaurants, which I usually never do, which is expensive. I don't like the restaurant food, but somehow I have to eat. So what to do? And all these expenses I had to make these satsangs possible there, they got covered by the voluntary donations, almost to the penny. And that's how God works. I love it. There's no need to do anything in your life where you don't feel joy and energy for. But if you feel joy and energy for something, this is God telling you, hey, that's a good idea. Do it. Yeah, that's how life works. For you, and for me, and for satsang, and for these videos. Yeah. And if you have questions, if you want to send me a question, I'm so happy to answer. You can write me an email, you can write me a handwritten letter. And if you want to do this on my website, on the Ask Me page, there you find my contact information. And I'm very happy to hear from you. Thank you that you're here. I'm so happy. I love you.